Hey guys, welcome back to another session of 7F Goal Setting 2022. Going to give you guys a minute to get in here, and we'll be talking about finances today. Give it a second for the notification to go out. I know finances is a big part of a lot of folks struggle with things. So just wanted to give everyone a chance to come on in and see how we're doing. It's a beautiful day here. If you're catching the replay, it's going to be a blunt conversation. So we'll see how it goes. But I think I've got a few tips that can be very beneficial. Hey, Mr. Blue Collar, how are you? Welcome in, welcome in. Tammy is not with us today. She's had something come up, so it's going to be just me, but we're going to have a real blunt conversation. So you may want to stick around. And I actually know that some of the things I'm going to talk about, Blue Collar exceeds that. They've talked about it before. Making smart financial decisions, which is so important. Hey there, 12 Stones Ranch. Thanks for coming in. Totally get your work in. No worries at all. Just giving a few minutes for people to come on in. And we're going to have a hardcore talk about finances. Yeah, no kidding, Mr. Blue Collar. Oh, makes you cringe, don't it? But you got to have relief. I'm sorry. I like creature comforts. So, but yeah, just going to give a couple minutes for people to come on in, but wanted to have a conversation about finances. A lot of people struggle with finances. So I really wanted to focus on this area today for 7F goal setting and also give you guys a chance to talk about some things. One of the reasons I decided to do this, you guys know that I retired in November. And one of the reasons why I was able to do that is because of how we handled our finances. So by no means am I an expert, but we're just talking about a lot of it is making sacrifices. And sometimes we don't want to make sacrifices, or we say we do, but we kind of struggle to make sacrifices. So we'll see how that goes. I still can't get over 180 heat index. Oh, gosh. I don't even have AC anymore. I mean, we have a unit for our house if it gets brutal, but we do have some ceiling fans for at night because we'll leave the windows closed all day and then open them at night. And we get some nice cool air in. But yeah, that's hard. That's hard. So for those of you, 111 for tomorrow. You're killing me, Tim. You're killing me. It's crazy. You are killing me. Gosh, I hope you guys stay warm. Keep those animals cool, but stay warm. I hope you stay cool. Keep those animals cool. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, that's brutal. And it's humid too. Oh, that's why you have that high heat index. What are the temps? Are they like 99 or 98? Because I know with the humidity, it's going to really raise it up. So let me just get this banner up for anyone that's new. And if we don't get a lot of people, I'll just make it a short live. No worries. I know it's summertime. Everybody's out busy. I know I'm out busy doing stuff. Let's get the ticker. Nope. Let me get that one and we'll get going. There we go. So we've got the 7Fs and we've been doing this series. Oh, I need an ice machine to feed into my pool to cut it off. 90s and 100 on Thursday. Oh my word. Get in that pool, man. Get in that pool. So we got a couple people here. So let's talk about 7F goal setting series is all about, achieving your goals and also finding balance. And so, the areas are faith, fun, fitness, family, friends, finances, and future. So even though I'm going to talk about finances today, you can imagine finances tie into fun, tie into sometimes fitness, depending on what your fitness is, if you go to gyms and stuff. Ties into family, right? Because a lot of families will argue over finances or have different opinions about finances. And friends, I mean, sometimes friends plays a role in finances because people like to keep up with the Joneses. And warning, I did tell you I was going to be brutal today on finances. So, because this is something I'm pretty passionate about. Hey, LP, welcome in, welcome in. So, and then obviously finances fits in, and then future. Finances is a big part of your future. A lot of homesteaders try to do things thriftily, try to do things cheaply. But homesteading is expensive. People don't realize homesteading is super expensive. And so that's some of the things that I want to talk to you about is how can we do better with our finances? So I think one of the first things to start with is motivation, right? And what you value. And if you value something, you're more likely to achieve it. So if you value being in a better financial spot, I mean, truly value it, you tend to work harder towards that. It's sort of like if I valued losing weight, I'd lose weight, but I really value food. So, like, that's a good example of how you don't follow through with something unless you truly, truly value it in your core being. Good morning, G Mama Grows. Thanks for being here. So, I'm just curious, how do you guys feel about finances? Does anyone struggle with finances that they want to talk about? Does anyone have any thoughts on, meeting financial goals? I'm just kind of curious what you guys think. And while I'm waiting for you guys to start typing in, I just wanted to keep talking a little bit about it. And like I said, I was going to have a really blunt conversation. So for those of you just coming in the chat, Tammy had something come up this morning. So just me today, sorry. We'll probably go right before the full hour because we'll see how it goes, But again, if you're just coming in, watching the replay, we're going to talk about finances, going to get really blunt about it. And I just gave the example of if I really valued losing weight, I would do it and it would go smoothly. But if I don't really value it to my core being, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take the steps that I need. And it's the same thing with anything else, like finances, making life changes and all of that. So sometimes I hear the comments, oh, it must be nice that you retired early. And it is, but here's the thing. I'm not rubbing that in someone's face. It's all about financial goals. Now, Ryan is still working. However, we have lived extremely cheaply, cheap for a long time. And that's why we were able to do so. We have very little bills, and some of the bills that we do have, we're choosing not to pay them off because it makes more sense to have them. So that's the way it goes, but it's all about our decisions. And I think that's really important. So let's see here. Mr. Blue Collar said, everyone has struggled with finances at one point or another. The older you get, the more you learn. Absolutely. Could not agree with you more. That is such a good point. We love you, Lisa. No, sorry, but too bad Tammy's tied up. Getting your homestead garden established can be challenging financially. It can be. When you're starting up something, it's expensive. It's so true. So true, LP. And G Mama, you brought up a really good point. I struggle living on a monthly pension, can't grow everything I want to grow. No, you can't. That's a really good point. And so how do you make those decisions, right? You know that you can only grow what you can grow within your financial means. But there you're making a great decision, G Mama. you can't grow everything you want to grow, but you're staying within your means. And that's super important. Whereas other people might just grow and go outside their means and then put themselves in financial difficulty. So that's a great example. I appreciate you saying that. Hey, Old Swedes Farm, thanks for stopping in. I know you're working, so no worries, no worries. So yeah, so let's talk about how do you make those decisions? And G Mama, you really hit the nail on the head too. So it's like, how do you make those decisions? How do you manage living on that monthly pension and being able to still do things that you want to do? I'd love to hear some of the things if you want to type them in the chat, because I think that's really important for folks. And so one of the things I know that we did was, and I'll share that while I'm waiting on if G Mama wants to say that. Yeah, taking care of plants is a job. I like it, but it's rough. It is, and it can be maddening. It can be frustrating, all that stuff. Hey, good afternoon, Miss Southern Belle. I'm doing great. I hope you are too. So yeah, so we're talking about all that stuff. So one of the things is we save things. We tried to save even when way back when we were a young family. We tried to save even when we were stretched to the limit. We tried to save, and it might only be $1. It might only be $2. But we tried to save every chance we got. And I can give you a good example. My mom, when we were younger and we were a family of 5, my mom would save dimes and pennies. Don't ask me why she chose dimes and pennies. She would save dimes and pennies all year long, roll them up, bring them to the bank. And not like the coin machines that charge a fee. She would roll them up, bring them to the bank, and we would go on vacation. And sometimes it was just our 2-week camping trip that we took, right? Because camping was cheap, but it was a great way to get, the family out. My parents worked really hard all year, just like you guys, we work, we do things. And we were able to take advantage of having some kind of fun and entertainment. And so, like G Mama was talking about, her plants, are a part of her hobbies and her fun, and they bring her joy. That's super important to have that kind of stuff. So when we talk about homesteading, right, and it's not just homesteading, but when we talk about homesteading, the startup is expensive. But you also want to build a homestead that is going to be functional and last, right? So that's one of the things we do on our channel is, yeah, we may use pallet wood or recycle and repurpose things, but if you see what we build, we try to build something that's going to last, like the turkey nesting boxes. The use of the trees, even though all we have access to is pine trees here, instead of buying lumber, right? We didn't buy, we used the pine trees, and then we used the chicken wire. So that was the only thing that we had to buy, and some hardware. Excuse me. So we did that to defray some costs, but be able to raise some poultry. So that's really important to do. So we save money, but you also want it to last. And so I often think of Rich at the Old Swedes Farm, because he bought for his gardens. I'm going to turn my light on. It's really dark. Buying the stock tanks. And he made a comment in one of his videos that people said the stock tanks were expensive. They're an investment. So for his situation, they are an investment, and that makes so much sense, I just want to go to the chat real quick, because again, Rich at the Old Swedes is talking about setting his homestead up. Those stock tanks are going to last forever for a garden. So it's one purchase and done. So if he's able to do that, that's his choice. So G Mama said, I've been picking staple plants, beans, greens, easy fruits for my zone, keeping them healthy until something sticks around. Yes. Heck, G Mama, that's what I have to do here, because nothing's growing great here. You know that. So that's why I got that greenhouse, I agree. And then Mr. Blue Collar said, keeping up with the Joneses. The Joneses may have a nice car and a house, but they don't own the house or the car. The house and the car own them. We live with no major debt, which has a lot of freedom. Yes, exactly. Now, granted, I'm not a financial advisor. I totally get that some people are living on fixed incomes and they're not able to at this point in their life. I totally get that. So please, I'm not trying to be offensive to anyone. I'm just trying to be real. Hey there, Frank and Jackie from Berkshire Farm. Yeah, if you have any questions, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, think about it. I'll admit, when I was working, if I wanted it, I got it, right? There's two of us working. Yeah, two incomes. That's great. And it's really what are you making decisions for? So at that point in time, if I go back to the valuing things, right? I admit I valued a Coach purse. I admit it. I love it. I still have it. I probably will never buy a purse again because that one will last forever. But now I don't value that. Instead, I value my lifestyle over it. And so that's why I wanted to talk about this, because I didn't always value the lifestyle. I valued things. I admit it, So G Mama said, I agree. Investments are better than Dollar Tree finds for durability. Agreed. So those Dollar Tree planters, right? I'll give you a good example, and it's on a small scale, but I think they had 19 of them, and I've been dying to have them because they were cheap. Well, I bought them. First problem I had with them, everybody said, why'd you use a soldering iron to poke the holes in the bottom? Why didn't you just poke the holes out? Well, the first one I went to poke the holes through, the whole bottom broke. Piece of garbage. Now, are they cool if that's all you can afford? Yes, totally get it. But we're talking about investment purposes. So if you're buying Dollar Tree stackable planters, understand you're buying Dollar Tree stackable planters, right? They're for the moment. They're not for the long term. Whereas if you look at the green stalk, right? And the green stalk is something, first of all, that has an incredible watering feature. They're sturdy. They don't dry out as quick because the green stalk is made deep enough. Hey, Charlene Heel. So that's the reality. I'm not as impressed with those Dollar Tree ones at all. And part of it is because I use them in the greenhouse. But, that's the reason why we want to have this conversation, right? You compare the Dollar Tree ones to the green stalk. The green stalk is probably a better investment over time. But again, if you don't value that green stalk or gardening, it's not worth your investment. Does that make sense? I look over. I thought somebody was walking in, but it's Diesel moving around. Understanding what you need versus what you want sometimes isn't so far apart. Bingo. That is exactly right. Great job, LP. Hey, Vineyard Chicks, welcome in. Hey, Little House Off the Gritty, welcome in. Blessings to you, Charlene Heel. Yeah, Berkshire Farm, we get what we pay for. And Mr. Blue Collar said we've been there too. Homesteading is a lifestyle we will never stop. So I'll give you an example. So one of the things was our Kuni pigs. So you can look at my chickens. My chickens are an investment, right, in my farm. I'm going to go to the chickens first, actually. So the chickens, I'm all over the place because I'm lost. Tammy's not here today. So the chickens are an investment in our farm. We had 12 chickens to start with. We lost one to a predator. We added 14 more. So we had 25 laying hens, and then we added our rooster. When we had the dog attack the end of April and lost half the flock, everybody focused on the emotional part of it. And yes, it was emotional because they were slaughtered for no reason by a dog that should not have been here. Put that aside for a minute. The chickens are an investment. Now, do they bring us joy? Yes, we love having them. They're so stinking funny. But the reality of it is they're an investment. So whatever we paid for the cost of the chicks, the money, the time raising them, and Actually, I'm not even going to go that far. But when they were lost, the owner had to pay us for the loss. So if you look at the lost egg sales for about 8 months, because some of the breeds were specialty breeds that don't lay right away, they take a lot longer to lay. And I probably could have gone a little further on that. But just figure 8 months of lost egg sales because we could not keep up with egg sales before. And now we are struggling because egg sales are blowing out the house. I don't even have eggs for us. And then the cost of those chicks, just those two things were $700. So you can imagine what a big hit that is for your revenue. Rich at the Old Swede says we figure out what we want and never do anything until it's paid for. Yep, agreed. Same here. Same here. Growing your own is the way to go. Yeah, I mean, even if you can't grow all of your stuff, try to grow something, even if it's just herbs, anything like that, you know. I've had my eyes on the garden tower. It houses red wrigglers that I have, and I'll have one eventually. Yeah, and if here's the thing, start saving change. You will be amazed how much change goes up. And I'll give you a tip. One of the things that Ryan does is every day he takes all the change in his pocket, and we have a coffee can with a slot in it, and he throws it in there. What do we use that for? We go get water from town to alleviate the pressure on our well. And so the water used to be $0.25 for so many gallons. Now it's 50 cents. And that's what we're doing, right? So we do that because otherwise, if we do something to our well, we're going to have a bigger issue. So he reaches in there and he takes the whole thing, puts it in the truck, and then he uses all the quarters. The rest of it, we roll up and we save as we can. We take all of our egg money, put it in a mason jar. All of our egg sale money pays for the cost of our chickens and then some. So that goes right back to the farm. So anything that we're getting goes right back to the farm, usually for feed nowadays. Yes, there is a green stock sale right now. Buy one, get one 60% off. Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing, like, I'll be honest, and I'm not trying to be prideful or anything, but I can, but I'm choosing not to because I want, for me, the choice is to get a larger greenhouse, like a high tunnel or something like that. Now, when I say high tunnel, it ain't going to be fancy. It's going to be what we can do. So Ryan's been looking for like frames from carports that are missing the metal so we can put the plastic on it, that kind of thing. But that's what we need to be able to grow here. But it's so true. Yeah, some places are selling farm fresh eggs for about $7 a dozen. We're still selling ours very cheaply because we have really good customers, and the amount of eggs that we sell everything we get, everything, and we still have more money left over with the feed. So, we're not worried about doing that because we've had really good customers and we're trying to keep it low for our customers. And it's funny, I was telling Old Swedes, our customers will hand us extra money and we tell them not to, but they just keep doing it. So at some point we'll probably raise, but right now not. Yeah, Tim at Blue Collar, I have heard that they're talking about laying eggs will go up to $1 each this fall. It's just insanity. Hey, Lisa Colovi, welcome in. I know you're at work. Don't you worry about a thing. I'm glad you're here. So again, guys, Tammy is had something come up, and so it's just me today. So you're kind of stuck with me, but LP says that's okay, so that's good. Yeah, we have separate mini accounts within our main bank account. We throw money in each account as we can. One is for our car repairs, orchard travel, propane. Use this to get our goals. Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's like these key things that you can do to reach your goals. So saving change. If you're able to pay extra on a bill, pay extra on a bill. Live within your means, I think, is the biggest thing. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of folks struggle to live within their means. And this is where I'm going to be a little hardcore. There's a lot of things I want. There's a lot of things I really want, but I'm not doing it. And it's because I'm making a choice for my financial freedom so that I don't need to deal with it. Hey there, Wendy at Hardneck Farms. No worries. Appreciate you. We can't sell eggs around here right now. Everyone has chickens and sells eggs. Wow, that's hard, folks not buying anything. I'm going to find out when I got baby pigs who's going to buy them. I know it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. So I talked about the chicken investment, and I know I'm kind of all over the place. I don't have Tammy to keep me in line. But the pigs. So homesteading costs. So when you think about the pigs, right, they were a much larger investment. So for example, Sherman was a purebred Cooney pig. Even though he was purebred, he could not be registered because he did not have the wattles. So he didn't have a breed standard. So I got him for $250. It's a lot of money. So I bought him. I bought him knowing that my piglets were going to be sired by a purebred that wasn't registered. Later on, we bought Eleanor, and it was supposed to just be Eleanor. And I think Eleanor was $550 or $650. $650. Eleanor was $650. Why? She was registered. She met the breed standard. So I bought her. When the original one that we picked for Eleanor, which was Fiona, when I found out that she was not growing to breed standards and was very small. So originally Fiona was supposed to be Eleanor. We found out that she was too small. She didn't meet breed standards. She was purebred. And we had her, and we ended up buying Eleanor and Fiona. So Eleanor is registered, Fiona is not. But again, Fiona is just like Sherman, purebred. I could probably register her now if I wanted to. I'm not seeing the need to, but I totally could. But I think she was $550. So yeah, they are very expensive. Livestock is very expensive. Now, if you looked at our pigs, if you've been following us for a while, we had Maggie and Winston, which were Mangalitsa, Duroc, and Berkshire Cross pigs. They were $65 each. Why? They were feeder pigs. So even at that time, feeder pigs had gotten very expensive. So commercial pigs tend to have larger litters. They were not registered pigs. They were crosses. That's why they were cheaper. And yet going for the Cooney pigs was more money. Now, why did I go for the Cooney pigs? Because that was the pig that I chose to raise. And because I wanted to breed them, if that makes sense. The feeder pigs, right, you pay less money for them, but they're only here usually from spring to fall, and then they get processed. Whereas the Cooney pigs, I'm looking to sell the piglets as piglets. Let me see here. I'm going to go to the hay prices are going through the roof. Yeah, they are. Our hay went from $140 and $140 for a 900-pound bale to $165, and my last one was moldy. So, and I had to deal with that. LP made a good comment earlier. I want to go back to it. Oh, thanks, Berkshire Farm. You're really sweet. Nice comment. Growing your own herbs is really helpful because herbs are expensive in the store and they don't last long. Exactly. Throwing them all out is costly. So even if you get like what I do when I had to buy them from the store, I would go to the store, use it for the recipe I needed, and dehydrate it because it will save you money. Yep. Yeah, G-Mama, livestock is wicked expensive. Oh, Wendy, don't worry about the commercials. Come on in. Let's see. Infrastructure for our pigs. It's probably one of the most expensive things we've done, Rich, and I will have to get back to you on a number, but I'll give you an idea of what we spent it on. I'll give you an idea of what we built, and I will give you an idea of how we save money. I'm wondering if it was probably $2,000. And here's the thing. We built a pig barn, which is the one Eleanor is in. We used rough cut pine from a local sawmill, which was a fraction of the cost of our lumber at the time. I know I have a video talking about the cost of it. I'll have to look for it. So we have that barn. We bought all rough cut lumber, built it ourselves over several weekends. We then bought page wire fencing to go around the pastures. But if you're getting meat pigs, if you're getting pigs that don't need a pasture, you can use net fencing. Pros and cons with that, but because Eleanor likes to get around it, as you know. But what I would say is we used hog panel and we use cattle panel. We try to get that off Facebook when we can. So we have a stockpile of it because it's really expensive in the store. But I know when we got Maggie and Winston, we had to buy several of them. We bought page wire fencing to go around the 3 pastures, which is pretty large. We bought T-posts and also wooden posts to do that. And we had to buy a farm gate at that time. Then we were able to get farm gates that came off of Facebook Marketplace to lighten the load of that cost. So yeah, I hope that gives you a rough idea. Vineyard chicks want a couple of our pigs, but we're too far. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so when you get animals that are registered, they're usually registered by the breeder. So Eleanor had already had that, had been registered, and the certificate was mailed to me. And so what the breeder does is, and I don't know all of it because I don't do the registering, G Mama, but the breeder does the registering in that they send in, like, I think the blood and the hair samples to the American Kuni Society or something like that, or whoever the registering body is, and they tell the bloodline and they send in the blood work and all that kind of stuff. So, but basically what it is you have to meet certain breed standards. So for example, Kuni pigs have to be double wattled. They have to have a certain framework. They have to be a certain size. That's pretty common. It's sort of like with dogs that go into the kennel club shows. You can't be a registered breed unless you're recognized, and you can't be registered unless you meet the breed characteristics. I hope that makes sense. Let me catch up on some comments. All right, Wendy, I'm sorry. Don't worry about the commercials. Just come in, Wendy. Yeah, so Vineyard Chicks were saying they registered the Nigerian dwarf goats, but they stopped selling because so many people are selling them. Yep, very true. Yeah, and Wendy at Hardknack Farm says, I don't have any infrastructure for animals, pet rabbits, but sad the cost is so high on them. Yep, everything is high. Take care, Mr. Blue Collar. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Rich, we have a whole video on our pig barns and what we did. I mean, I don't expect you to go back and watch all of them, but like you definitely can. Here's the thing. You definitely can look on Marketplace for T-posts. Wendy at Hardknack said she got T-posts from farm auctions, plus people give them to her. We've bought 1 or 2 T-posts at yard sales. We've bought brand new ones. We shopped around where to get them. shop like holiday sales, like 4th of July weekend sales are great to go look for that kind of stuff. But yeah, we try to look for things all the time that they're selling it very cheap. So that way, when we need it, we have it. We just go to the farm store, pick it up, and we've got our project. That's what we try to do. So that way we can figure all that. Oh my gosh, Berkshire Farm, that's insane. I think they were $30 to $40 here, and they used to be in the 20s. But yeah, like recently on Marketplace, somebody had a few months ago, we scored a bunch of panels and they were dirt cheap, and we just put them in the back of the barn. Hey, Danny, thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. Let's see here. I just want to go to the comments. You're welcome, G Mama. G Mama, that means right on in my language. That's funny. Yeah, so I mean, exactly, Wendy. A lot of people cattle panel or something, or hog panel is something a lot of us use for various different purposes. You know, we use the cut pieces for the bottom of the barns, so that way, like, you have that gap sometimes where our barns are a little off the ground because we have to level them up. So you have this gap, and we try to put hog panel there for to block out from underneath, so the chicks don't go under there and we can't get them when they're little because they like to hide, right? So that's what we do. But yeah, it's expensive. And so looking on places like Marketplace is a great way to save money. And looking ahead and planning. So what are the things are you going to use or you think you'll use? For us, cattle panel or hog panel is something we are always going to use. Even if they have some damage to the side of them, we often have to cut a panel. And if you watch a lot of our videos, we've talked about how we don't cut a panel unless we know it's staying there long term. So for example, there's a panel by Sherman and Grant's barn. And so this is the fence area, and this is the barn area, and the cattle panel overlaps. Why? Because if we ever do something different, we have a full panel. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm glad that you got them, and that's definitely an investment for your farm, is to have all that stuff. Hey, Rebecca, Touched by Yarn. I know you can't hear me, but thank you. Yep. Farm auction. That's another place. So one of the examples is Fiona's farrowing house was a auction find. Ryan saw it and knew right away he could convert it. And so he got that for $42.50, and it's an all steel building with a roof. And all we had to do was take metal siding that we had and screw it on there. Since it's a summer barn, she never has to have insulation. So it doesn't have to be this warm barn for wintertime. So it's just really smart. Let's see. Hey, Arizona Highland Homestead. Hope you're doing well, Nick. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Vineyard Chick said Blaine's Farm and Fleet Funds rebate was $75 back per 500 sometimes. Yep, absolutely. Menards has rebates. Some other places have rebates. And when you buy in bulk, some places also give you a discount. So that's a good thing. And the other thing is we live about an hour from all these farm stores. So we always call ahead to make sure they have them, because I'm not driving there and back if they don't have them, if I don't have any other business. So usually we lump all our stuff into one. Just want to get down to the, hey, Rebecca, welcome in. Welcome in. Awesome, Nick. Awesome. Yeah, it sure is. Sure is. Oh, I love Menards too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hang on one second. Somebody just sent me a message. Hold on one second. I may have somebody coming up here. Let's see here. We may have a special guest, guys. Hang on a minute. Bear with me while I get his email up here. I just sent it to you, sir. Oh, wow. I didn't know that, Jackie and Frank. You guys moved from Tucson to Texas. You got a lot of good stuff going on there. And, you know, I know you guys always talk about like stuff going slow, but when you're trying to, you know, do stuff on a budget, it takes time. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of money. So you have to go slow. We did our pig barn, like I was saying, you know, we didn't do all of it at once. We did our pig infrastructure in several different chapters and it changed every time. So we had a lot of, let's do the floor. Then we bought and ordered the wood for the barn. We had to order that siding at the time because we didn't have it on hand. Hey, Tommy Mont's Family Homestead, congratulations to you. Is my guest ready backstage? All right. So just to think about, those are things that, you know, you have to do in stages. You can't do it all at once, you know. So I have a special guest here. Hello there.
Hey, hey.
Everybody, Rich at the Old Sweets Farm is joining in. Thank you, Rich.
Good, great discussion. That's why I want to jump in. I really get into this kind of stuff and really dig it. So just some great points being thrown out there. And so I just thought, you know what, if you needed some support, hey, Wendy.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. You know, it's just, you know, I don't know if you were here in the beginning when I was talking about, like, if you truly value something to your core, that's when you actually follow it. Whereas, you know, I gave the example, if I valued losing weight, I'd do it, but apparently I don't. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just being real.
That's the worst and the hardest goal. I speaking from experience, although Holly and I have both commented, now that we're into full production planting and all that in the garden, we've dropped some pounds. You're out there working. Gardening actually is a darn good workout. So,
yep.
But that's a hard goal. That's the worst one.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to if you value fitness, right, and you value it, you're going to do it.
Yep.
If you don't value it, you're not going to do it.
We joined a fitness club, and they have a 3-month break. And just during planting and all this, it's like, here's our 3-month break. We just can't do it. So we value it, but in September, we'll pick it back up.
Yep. Absolutely. Hey, Andale, welcome in. And everybody's saying howdy, Rich.
Hey. Yeah, I don't have it up on YouTube, so can't see the comments. I had commented, Lisa, if I can just jump on my comment, we have a bunch of accounts. I've got our main bank account, and then I set up all sorts of different accounts. I never want to buy something or be unprepared. You know, our propane, I know that it's going to be, you know, X amount per year. So every month I try to throw $200 in that account. So then now we're not buying now, but in August, we're going to try to do a bulk buy, get like 1,000 gallons prepaid or something. And then I've got the money. I hate having a big expense. So we've got a car repair account, and I throw, you know, when you can, you throw a little in there. And I just had to have my brakes done. You know what? I had $1,800 sitting in there, and 800 went for brakes. It's already paid for. It's not a big bump in the road. So, but I also do other things. You know, you're talking about chickens. I value my girls. I run that as a separate business. I have my egg account, and anytime we sell stuff, sell eggs, it goes in there. Anytime we have to buy feed, it comes out of there. So they run themselves. But we lost a chicken the other day. I think a predator took it out in the road, and I'm looking at it going, you know what? She was a year old. She's in full production. She probably gives me 20 dozen a year. I just lost $100.
Yep.
That's why I was asking about infrastructure. We're looking at pigs, but I need to start my pig account and kind of throw some stuff in there and for next year, maybe I'll have enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I think back to my mom. You know, my mom was I don't know, anyone here remembers budget envelopes?
Yep.
My mother had budget envelopes, and she would go to the bank, she would cash the check, she would come back in, and every week when she got paid, she would put all the money in the different envelopes. So that way, when the bill came due, she would just go into the envelope and pay the bill. Never had to sweat anything, right? If she robbed out of one for some reason, she would put a note in there, and the next week she'd have to put it back. And she loves that stuff. Loves that.
That was a paper version of what I'm doing.
Exactly. Hey, Monica, welcome in. Yeah, sinking funds, absolutely. And there's a great channel, and I don't have mods here today. I'm just trying to, like I said, Tammy had something that came up, but let me give you a link to a really great channel. She got herself out of debt, and this woman goes on trips and everything else and got herself out of debt. I couldn't believe it. Hang on a minute. It's Snow Gardener. No, wait a minute. Snow Gardener 307 budgets. And I'm just trying to get to her main channel. I think that's the wrong one. Yeah, it's budgets, and then she's got everything but the budgets. She's got two channels. I'm going to just give you this one here to share. But she gave a 1 year update on her channel and everything, and I'm just getting it in the chat, so bear with me.
Yeah, that's great. We have a little travel fund. Holly has a 1 night a week. We helped a few breweries open up around here, so we've been kind of tied into the brewery game, and she helps out serve at one night a week, and so half her tips go into our travel fund, and that's how over time we're going to take a trip somewhere. I love traveling, but owning a farm gets expensive at the start.
It does. And, you know, when we raised our pigs, we didn't count the infrastructure in it because we knew that the infrastructure would be used over and over again. Yeah. We knew that that was going to be something separate. But, you know, what a lot of people don't realize is like the time, the shavings, all that kind of stuff, you know. So like one of the things we did was we had an opportunity to get a load of sawdust. It turned out a little chunkier than we thought, but you know, it's free, right? So for the summertime, they don't need all that warmth. We're able to clean it, rake it out a little easier. So what we've been doing is throwing it through, as we do barns, we take like a hardware cloth and we just go through there, and then take the big chunks and we throw them in tubs, because in the wintertime we're working on projects in the garage, and we'll burn that to, you know, keep the garage warm while we're in there.
If you can have multiple uses, or kind of think through how one piece of structure can influence another. I usually buy a lot of composted manure and use that in the garden quite a bit. Well, last year over the winter, we bought a bunch of straw and used that for composting. Now, there was an expense for straw, but in having our deep litter method in the barn, taking all that out and composting that big pile of chicken manure and straw, now I'm using that to, and so I'm not spending as much on the garden this year. So it's like, okay, this is offsetting. So now I've got that constant source of manure and compost.
Absolutely. And I know for us, one of the things that we did, we knew, well, I knew that we were getting kuni pigs. And so when we bought the 2 feeder pigs, right, because that was back in 2020 when they were getting very expensive and hard to find actually around here. So we raised our 2 from, I think it was February 1st to the end of August. And we raised them, and then we got the kuni pigs. So we have all that meat here now. And so we knew that it would be 18 months once we got piglets about that to raise the kuni. So we tried to offset that stuff. And I see in the chat the vineyard chicks are asking something. Let me just go back, girls. There we go. So it depends. It depends on what type of pig. I can speak for kuni pigs, and I can speak for the Mangalitsa, Duroc, and Berkshire crosses that we had. So girls, that was Maggie and Winston that we had. I don't know if you remember them, but Mangalitsa are just like full-bred Mangalitsa are just like kuni in the sense they're very hairy. So they do just fine here. Maggie and Winston went through a polar vortex with us when they were piglets. We were, I think, at minus 30 for over a week here, a couple weeks. And when we first got them, it was literally like 50 degrees the day we got them. And then we had a cold front move in. So what we did was we just locked them in the barn while they were little with food and water to keep them out of the wet elements. Because they had just been weaned and they did just fine. And of course, when there's two of them, they keep each other warm. Yeah. So that's one of the other benefits. The other thing
you just got to hug them more often in the cold.
I know. And it's funny. It's funny. Every time we've gotten a pig, except for the girls, it's been like horrible weather. We got Sherman and it was raining and we drove across the state of South Dakota and we had to come back to beat a storm and we had some winter storm. I think it was Xylia or something like that that came through, and Sherman too had to be locked in his barn because the snow was above his head. It was so deep. And again, as a piglet, he was by himself. We just give extra shaving. So lots of extra clean bedding. Girls will keep them warm. And if they have a buddy, they snuggle up together and then making sure they're out of like a draft. Now, our front barns are usually open, but they can get into a corner and they make a nice nest, and they usually do fine in the really cold weather. The biggest thing is clean, dry, extra bedding. So every time it gets cold, they get another bag of shavings, if not more, so they can get the deeper they go. Hey, Life with Belinda and Chuck. But the kunis have fur on them, so they do really great. We've had Sherman since March of 2020. And he's doing great. We got Grant September, and he's still a little guy, and he does well. He did well by himself. Yeah. That is the truth. That is the truth. Everybody thinks that, when you finally get it, you're making big money. A lot of people don't realize that things go like this after you get it. So, but it's very itty bitty. But you know what? Whatever it is, I put it away and I save it. But It is very itty bitty. Did you have something you wanted to say, Rich?
No, I just thought that was awesome. What a great goal, because you're going to absolutely enjoy that homestead then when, and know exactly where it came from. I just saw that and smiled. I just thought that was a great way to pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, and that's the thing too, like a lot of people sometimes will say, well, why are you buying all this stuff? Or, oh, it must be nice you're buying all this stuff. Well, you know what? We're buying stuff when it becomes available and it's cheap. That water tank we bought was $105 for a used water tank at an auction, which they're hard to come by here because people hold on to them forever because there's no water in the fields. They're using tanks. So that tank could be anywhere from $500 to $800. I saw it for $730 at Fleet Farm. Not paying that for a tank.
Yep. If you can use stuff over and over. I mean, we've put some major infrastructure into our garden this year. And those stock tanks that we bought, I forget what it was. I bet you we spent $1,200 on all those, $1,300 on them. You know what? I'm going to use that now for hopefully decades. Those are not things that are going to fall apart, but I just don't want to build some things with wood and then, over and over and over, keep buying it. And you know what? I'm sorry. I need to jump out. We had our garbage guys last week decided to drive all over our yard for some reason. And so someone's out to look at all the ruts they left. So I got to jump out.
All right. See you later. Thanks for stopping by.
Everybody. Have a great week.
Bye. Oh, there you go. So there you go. So any kind of questions about what we talked about? I just realized that like we're at less than 5 minutes left. That went really quick. Just kind of curious, like are those good tips that, may have helped you guys? Is this something we want to talk about again? I'm just kind of curious. Like I said, I had to take the lead today with Tammy jumping out today, but she deserves it. She's got stuff going on. But yeah, I hope the tips helped and stuff like that. And it was good Rich came up to join us. I'm just going to wait and see if you guys come up. I'm looking at myself. I got this hair sticking out, huh? It really is. It really is, Wendy. I agree. We're just sharing information back and forth is so important for all of us, and again, I think it's just thinking about investing in your future. And Rich talked about, the money he has invested in his garden. If you've seen his garden, the Old Swedes Farm, he's got weed cloth, he's got stock tanks, it's just like Wendy's investing in her gardens, but they're producing food that they're eating. So they're investing in their food, which is so important. For us, we're investing more in animals than we are gardens. And that's because the animals do a lot better than the gardens here. So absolutely. Hey, Free Hanley, I hope you're doing well. Sending you love and hugs for a speedy recovery. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, auctions are a great place to go. Look up your local auctions, see if they're doing them online like ours is, and then you do a pickup. Saves a lot of time because all you do is you go and bid online. Oh, you're very welcome, Vineyard Chicks. Yeah, I mean, Vineyard Chicks, feel free to email me or message me on Instagram, whatever, and I'm happy to talk to you about this further. No problem at all. The biggest thing is, do you want to keep, if you're overwintering pigs, it's going to cost you a lot more money. That's something to think about because you got the shavings, it's going to be a lot of work, all that kind of thing. So just think about that. Oh, no worries, Nisi. Totally get it. Just relax, and just feel better. Estate sales are a huge resource as well. Everybody send prayers to Nisi. She is home recovering from surgery. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Frank and Jackie. I appreciate it. So yeah, so I hope everybody enjoyed the conversation. I didn't get too far down the rabbit hole that I wanted to. Maybe that's a good thing. But we ended up giving more tips and tricks. But I hope that was really helpful and gave everybody some good ideas. If you have any great ideas that we didn't get a chance to share, please drop them in the comments down below this video. We'd love to see them and all that stuff. Yep. It's insane. The feed prices are off the charts, absolutely off the charts. Everything just keeps going up and up and up. We have stopped going to a local feed store, which I don't like to not do, but it's reality. And I've been shopping around for feeds. Whoever has the cheapest price is what I'm doing because I want to make sure they're getting good food. It's what we have to do. It's really sad. Really sad. All right, everybody. I'll give you guys a second if there's any questions, or let me know if you like this or you didn't like it. That's fine. But we're hoping to be on Mountain Grandma's channel next week per our usual schedule. So definitely come check us out Tuesdays at 11 Mountain Standard Time. We would love to have you with us. Thanks, everybody, for coming today. We really appreciate y'all. Hey, Cindy's Place, thanks for stopping by. But thanks again, everybody. I appreciate it. And again, leave me a comment down below of the video. Let me know what you thought of this if you watched the whole thing. And have a great day. Take care, everybody. See ya. Bye.